Being a mom is like 1,000 little jobs wrapped up into one amazing responsibility. I know from watching my own mom and how crazy it is switching back and forth from traumatic nurse to afternoon mathematician, from organizer-in-chief to five-star chef. This Mother's Day, show her how much you appreciate every job she does with a special limited-time offer from 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you get ahead of the Mother's Day rush, 1-800-Flowers will give you an exclusive 36 for 36 offer. 36 sorbet roses for just $36. That's only $1 per rose. With an impressive mix of pastel shades in pink, orange, and lavender, these roses are guaranteed to make her smile. Stunning sorbet roses are the perfect way to surprise all of the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, mother. These breathtaking roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 36 sorbet roses for only $36. It's an amazing offer, but hurry because it expires Friday. Just pick your delivery date and 1-800-Flowers will handle the rest. Don't put this off, guys. Order today from 1-800-Flowers.com. It's what mom would want you to do. To order 36 sorbet roses for only $36, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the radio icon, and enter code WINGO. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code WINGO. Hurry, the offer ends Friday.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Golic and Wingo. Mike Golic Jr. and Mike Golic Sr. here on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Going old school today. No ESPN news, no fancy cameras, just two guys, a microphone, and a studio. Dad, this has to feel kind of like a throwback to the yesteryear. I've seen all the old Mike and Mike pictures of you guys in the closet. Oh, man, you got bailed out hard. You're lucky Cliff can't see your microphone.
I did.
Now.
Justin helped me out here because Justin goes old school with me. We are old school. Just on radio, we're here in Dallas at 103.3 ESPN and doing our show. This is like when I would do shows on the road very early on in Mike and Mike, and I was calling college games. I would go on the road, and I would be in this is before the colleges had the incredible setups that they have. I'd be in closets, basically. Luckily, this is way nicer than that. And just doing the old radio, my picture wouldn't be up. This is even before Mike and Mike was on TV. So this is back to the roots a little bit, something you know nothing about. This is your millennials. You have no clue about this kind of radio and broadcasting.
Except this is literally the show I do every day from 4 to 6 in the morning before I come over to you.
Other than that, you have no idea what's going on.
Other than that, and I just want it on the record that before we turned the microphones on, my dad looks over at me, dead serious, and says, the best part about not being on TV today is I can put on my glasses whenever I want.
That's exactly right. I need those. I need the cheaters. I absolutely need the cheaters. Again, we're down here in Dallas for the draft. Trey Wingo, who's normally part of the show, he will be here in the middle 2 hours of the show today from basically 7 to 9 Eastern
7
time.
7 to 9 Eastern.
We're on Central Time here. It's always a bit messy when we do something like that because we're dumb.
Yeah, no, it takes a little while for us to adjust to most anything, let alone time and time zones and all those concepts. But yeah, Trey's going to be part of ESPN's big, awesome draft coverage going on in the big stage over as we get ready down here in Dallas at Jerry World. So he'll be covering that for you guys later in the afternoon. And so we're bailing him out a little bit in the morning because we know Trey needs his rest.
Yeah, he'll be with us 2 hours today, 2 hours tomorrow, and 1 hour on Friday. As Mike said, we get ready for the NFL draft. Obviously, a lot of news about that as we get deeper and deeper and dive into that. We finally have the controversy in New England and any kind of rumors going out over, which we'll get into about who's playing next year and who's not. And I think, Mike, one of the great things that you and I can do is we can, throughout the show, relive our draft day and being at the draft site of wherever it was when we were, being drafted. For me, it was New York, and hanging out at there in the green room, getting ready for the draft and get
great snacks. Great snacks back in that.
That's right. Neither of us were at the draft, were we? Yeah.
No.
Well, you know what we can do? We can explain it from the other side. from the majority.
Talk to us on Saturday, and we'll let you really know how it's going to go when we get down to the guys that matter, the guys that are going to be your brick and mortar of the team.
The diamonds in the rough, that's where the real men are chosen in this draft.
Man, I tell you what, the draft is all about cliches and euphemisms.
Yeah.
That day of the draft, maybe more so than any, is where we really have to try and justify our existence in a way that sounds a lot nicer than, yeah, they decided you were really, really not worth it until the end.
Yeah,
so.
the way they can put things, because we both came at it a little differently. I made it into the draft in the 10th of 12 rounds. You did not make
brag.
it. You did not make it into the draft, but still you were taking phone calls from teams in like the 5th round, the way the whole undrafted thing works. So again, we'll get into that, but that is really where a lot of the draft is made. You're hoping in that first round, all the names that get talked about that we're going to talk about, you want like immediate production out of them. But it's those guys taken later in the draft that end up being the core to your team and end up really making or breaking a coach on players that he can find to see how well a team can do.
Yep, so we've seen teams like the Seahawks, the Patriots for years build in those later rounds and create some of the future stars of tomorrow and some of the sports talk radio hosts of today very, very soon. But in the meantime, one of the other things that I'm always excited about on this show is the massive generation gap between the two of us. So we will have education time when it comes to Meek Mill and what the hell happened in Philadelphia last night with the freeing of a rapper and a social media phenomenon. But before we do that, we start today, as we start every day, going off the top.
It's time for Off the Top.
Whether you like it or not,
It's just beginning.
With Golic and Wingo.
And we begin off the top as I pay my homage to Trey Wingo with that throw there, with the Warriors defeating the Spurs Tuesday to advance to the Western Conference semifinals, where they'll meet the New Orleans Pelicans. The Warriors swept the Pels in the 2015 first round, Anthony Davis's only other postseason appearance.
Yeah, you look at these two teams as we look forward to it. Warriors won 3 of the 4 games against Pelicans this year. DeMarcus Cousins, though, played in 3 of those 4 games. In the game Cousins missed, Steph Curry was also not there, and Steph Curry very well may not be around for this one either. And we know Boogie Cousins is also gone here. But this one last night, Draymond Green had a monster game for Golden State. 17 points, 19 rebounds, averaged 18 rebounds the last 2 games that they played. Kevin Durant there with 25 points. Klay Thompson with 24. I was amazed, Mike, in the last game, that the one game they lost to the Spurs, and again, thoughts and prayers out to Greg Popovich and the family. He's missed a couple games with the passing, obviously, of his wife, Erin. But the Spurs got that one win, and all the talk all of a sudden, oh my gosh, Golden State misses Steph. The other guys, who's going to take the shot? Come on. I mean, seriously, this Warriors team, I still think is the best in the Western Conference. We'll see when they get Steph back. And they ended a series we all knew was going to end with either a sweep or, in this case, it was going to be 5 games.
Yeah, and the Warriors understand the value of this. That was the only thing I was shocked by, that a team with the championship clout the Warriors have, who understand the importance of closing an opponent out when it's time, let the Spurs get that one game back into this. But they end that last night. Draymond Green, who you mentioned, had a great ode to Greg Popovich after the game,
he did, yeah,
in the press conference. And all of these guys were cognizant that this series was a little bit bigger than what we just saw on the court.
And how much are we looking forward? As I said yesterday, I'm starting already to look forward to that second round, this matchup and the Houston and Utah matchup. Obviously, we'll get to at some point, but this one, the way Anthony Davis, we know how great he's been, but he's been nicked up obviously a little bit in the past couple of years. But the way he's playing right now, this could be a real interesting series.
I mentioned yesterday one of the best performers of this playoff run that we've seen, but I neglected his teammate and one of the guys in the backcourt there, Drew Holiday, who's been a star.
Yes, he has.
So far, as we continue with
Off the Top.
The 76ers beat the Heat Tuesday to win their first playoff series since 2012. Philadelphia will face the winner of the Milwaukee and Boston winner in the next round. According to the BPI, the Sixers would have an 80% chance to beat the Bucks and just a 49% chance to beat the Boston Celtics.
Here's the interesting thing for me. The last couple of games, or early on, that this entire series had been the fourth quarter for the 76ers. I believe coming into this game, they had outscored the Heat by 42 in the fourth quarter. Now this was the third quarter game. This was a close game, tie game at halftime, 46-all, but it's a 14-point edge for the 76ers in the third quarter. So that's where they made their jump. Normally it had been in the fourth quarter. They outscored the Heat by 78 points in the second half. That's the largest second half margin in a single playoff series since the Nuggets were plus 86 over the then New Orleans Hornets in the second half of their first-round series back in 2009. So the way I always talk about this really in any sport. How do you come out of the locker room? You take that break. How do you come out of the locker room? What adjustments are made, and how well can you perform from there? So here it was the third quarter. Before it had been the fourth quarter for them, but either way, it's been the second half for the 76ers and how well they played. Last night, it was J.J. Redick leading the way, I believe, with 27 points.
Yeah, J.J. Redick been a big part of it, the veteran presence in that locker room. And J.J. Redick, a guy we'll hear from in a little bit about the mindset of this team going forward. But it's just been such a turnaround for this group win total-wise. Their 56th win of the season last night after totaling 56, I believe, the entire 3 years combined. So the Philadelphia 76ers made the switch from a bad team to a good team in a very short amount of time. Making the switch brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. We'll get into plenty more news from Philadelphia.
There's a lot more
night.
Going on in Philadelphia on and off the court.
Yeah, we got to peel back that onion in a little bit, but for right now, we'll continue with
Off the Top.
The NBA playoffs continue Wednesday as the Cavaliers return home looking to take a 3-2 series lead against the Pacers. With a loss, LeBron James would face elimination in a first-round series for the first time in his NBA career.
Yeah, something he's certainly not used to. A guy averaging 32, 11, and 8 for this series. He's about to become the NBA playoff leader in steals. He has 393, 3 steals away from passing Scottie Pippen for the most in playoff history. That became an official stat back in 1973. But as you mentioned it, this has been a series, and this again has been LeBron James basically doing this by himself, and just how far can he carry this team. I think already there are those, I may be one included, I think they've already had more trouble in this series than some thought they would have. Now, I believe I said the Cavs in 5 or 6 in this one, and certainly they may need everyone. They're going to need at least 6 games, if not 7. We'll see how this one comes out tonight. Game 5 winner of a best-of-7 series tied at 2-2 has gone on to win a series 83% of the time. So big win out, a big game. I would expect LeBron to come out strong again like he did in game 2 of this series.
Yeah, this reeks of that opportunity here. Now, on the off chance that LeBron James did go down in this series, he's won 3 of the last 4 that he's trailed 3-2 in, but the Cavs, you can't let it get to that point now. There's no amount of matching suits that would be able to elevate you out of that panic, and I'm with you. I think I picked the Cavs in 3 to start this series, but Victor Oladipo and company had other plans in mind. He's been sensational to start this series, but Victor Oladipo is someone that I overlooked, the Pacers I overlooked, and I owe them an apology. As we continue now, there's someone I owe a bigger apology as we continue with
Off the Top.
Al Horford. Around the All-Star break, I slandered Al Horford in ways that were crass, offensive, and now I have to own up to my mistake.
Yeah, you got to walk that one back.
Al Horford had 22 points and 14 rebounds as the Celtics beat the Bucks 92-87 on Tuesday night to take a 3-2 series lead. And Al Horford, old man buckets, has been absolutely giving work to Giannis and this young Bucks squad.
A little bit of controversy with a little over a minute in that game. They were up 5, and a Horford shot looked like it was after the shot clock had gone off, and he missed it, but the Celtics got the rebound, and the Bucks had to foul and go down that road. But there was the coach yelling, a player saying, wait, there was a shot clock violation. They didn't get the call there. As I mentioned, it's a 5-point game with a little over a minute to go. You wondered if the Bucks could make that run right at the end there to catch them. What I thought was surprising, Antetokounmpo just 10 shots in this game, dishing the ball out a little bit more. He had 10 rebounds and he had 9 assists in this one. But as I mentioned, just 10 shots. It was Middleton with 21 shots. Bledsoe had 15 shots. He had a big one late in this game as well. But I thought the lack of shot taking by Antetokounmpo was interesting. And then, listen, every game has a call here or a call there. You know, for a foul call, that's more obviously subjective. You know, but you look at if the shot clock did, go off and did end, then that would be a clear mistake.
It would be. And to your point about Giannis, I thought it was interesting just the mode that he was in. We always throw this criticism LeBron James way, but Giannis had 21 assist attempts or assist creations last night, and his teammates were 9 of 21 off that. So he was looking to be deferential for whatever reason. And after his big coming out party in last year's playoffs, because what we're seeing from Ben Simmons and a lot of these younger guys this round feels like what we got out of Giannis last year. And now we're starting to get to the point where we're seeing some of the deficiencies of this Bucks team overall, and now wondering going forward how we start to transition the way we approach him as a player.
And what people are going to start to say about him is what they said about LeBron. They've said about LeBron for his career, but going back in recent history, game one, quit dishing the ball so much. Do it yourself. When he came out in game two, LeBron against the Pacers and did that, when that's exactly what Antetokounmpo, you're right, deferring to teammates. And he's got some good teammates, but at the end, you want, okay, Giannis, take the shot, take the ball, do your thing like he's done in a decent amount of this series.
Yep, that's the maturation process we expect with all these guys. And it is worth noting that while I will publicly apologize to Al Horford, my take was not unfounded. The last pick in the All-Star draft.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
And he hit the buzzer.
Deserves a little bit. That was purely on accident. As we continue with
Off the Top.
Dad, this one's going to feel pretty good for you. Shohei Ohtani reached 101 miles per hour Tuesday, the fastest by any starter this season, but struggled with his control against the Astros as he issued 5 walks, more than his first 3 starts combined. And I know this is something you're going to be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to Shohei the way.
Now I believe is tied on the season with home runs given up and home runs given.
Given up, I believe, given up 3 and hit 3. Yes, so we have that. We'll keep that count, that tracker going for the entire season. But, you know, he's got the velocity down. 100-mile-an-hour pitches by starters this season. Ohtani has 8 in his first 3 starts, 8 of them. Every other starter in the league has 9, so he's humming it. But again, the lack of control, gave up 6 hits, 4 runs, had 7 strikeouts. You know, this continues to me. It still does. It's a great story given the fact of his age coming over. Could have waited a couple of more years, got way more money, wanted to come over now, had the spring where you went, ooh, okay, maybe this is a little early. Had the good start to the season. I still think it's a great story going forward, but it's a long season for a young player. Mike Trout, the offense bailed this team out. Trout ends up hitting his 10th home run in April. Mike Trout is doing Mike Trout things. I mean, best player in baseball that hasn't won enough MVP awards.
Yeah, casually leading the majors in home runs again. And you have to feel like this is the perfect situation for him as Shohei Ohtani continues to be the story, and Mike Trout, who would rather live his life as anonymously as possible, gets to continue to do so and just play damn good baseball in the process. So the Shohei tracker continues to go. That was Off the Top here on ESPN Radio. Speaking of the process, we are Golic and Wingo here, presented by Progressive Insurance. We got a great list of guests today. All phone guests join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We got Sal Paolantoni coming up, who was on site and in Philadelphia for the return of Meek Mill. Forget what happened in that basketball game last night. I'm sure he got that sit-down interview, and we'll have that ready to recount for us. Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst, going to join us at 8 Eastern. Roger Staubach, Pro Football Hall of Famer, going to join us in studio here at 8:30 Eastern. And Todd McShay, our ESPN NFL draft analyst, also going to be here in studio. I'm sure him and Mel happy to have the mocks done. If you miss any of those guests, you can listen to all 4 hours on demand on the ESPN app. But you know why they call the process a process, Dad?
Why is that?
Because it's a process.
It is a process.
Last night we had it finally come to fruition, and all of the parts that went into making last night were strange. I ask you because you had heard us joking about it on the show, going all the way back to the beginning of Golic and Wingo, this idea of free Meek Mills. But when you saw everything happen around the game last night, how confused were you?
I mean, there has to be, you mentioned it on the way in, so many talk show hosts today that are going to be furiously getting their information on Meek Mill and just what this guy is about and why there is such a big deal made out of him. But all you need to know is basically right now he gets freed from prison. Many thought he never should have been there in the first place. And helicopters to the game. And how important is this guy or the people around him? He sat courtside next to Sixers co-owner Michael Rubin and actor Kevin Hart. Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie, retired boxing great Bernard Hopkins sat near him. National champion Villanova Wildcats posed for pictures with Mill in the locker room. And before the game last night, Mill met privately with the Sixers in their locker room. Rubin had organized prison trips for the stars Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Markelle Fultz, all to visit Meek Mill. We know Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, visited Meek Mill in prison. So, I mean, it's been a phenomenon right now that, you know, your millennial group here could explain a lot more than my group and Trey's group on just Meek Mill and the whole thing surrounding him. But all you had to see last night was him coming to the game and the amount of of power of stars that were around him was amazing.
By far the weirdest part, because you're right, I could sit here and explain to you what this means, why he's a symbol for the larger idea of looking at prison reform that Malcolm Jenkins and some of the guys in Philadelphia there with the Eagles have been looking at, or I can marvel at just how incredible it was that in 2018 I saw a picture of Robert Kraft and Meek Mill tweeted from the Patriots official Twitter account saying, "Justice for our friend, finally free." But you mentioned Joel Embiid, one of the Sixers stars, who went and visited Meek while he was in jail. Last night after the game was asked about what the effect of Meek Mill being in house was on this team.
It was great. When he was in jail, I went to visit him, and he wasn't feeling good. You could tell he was trying to hold on. So to be here and to kind of provide this opportunity for him because he's been following us, and for him to kind of come to this type of game, and that was a close-out game, and we got the win. I was just happy.
It blows my mind, and I'm not going to get into, the charges of why he's in jail and the breaking of probation and all that. I mean, if you Google that, find out yourself for it. To me, the phenomenon is just the big-time people that wanted to be around him, that either visited him in prison or were there when he got out. And just the story behind it is incredible. That, as I mentioned, so many people I'm sure will be Googling today to try and find out all the backdrop to all of this.
Yeah, all the 20-something producers and board ops are going to earn their keep today as they furiously explain to sports talk radio hosts, this is why this matters so much. But the social media phenomenon that it happened to coincide at the perfect time with a team that sort of is of this same ilk, a team that is young, a team that has come together through a process that itself was newsworthy and finally gets to see the culmination of it in a moment last night where once you heard that Meek Mill was going to be in the building, once you heard all of this coming together for the game, we all just looked up and said, it's just how much the Sixers are going to win by.
Well, that's exactly right. Because listen, in our world of sports, the Sixers are the story and what they've done over the process, and that it actually worked for them. Depending on how well it worked, you can go by the number of years it took to get to where you are, to where they are now. But the social aspect of this thing with Meek Mill has been absolutely incredible. Obviously, we'll have our fun with that, but focus in on the sports side of it and the 76ers. But it blew my mind. Right out of prison, right onto a helicopter, and all these stars just meeting this guy, sitting with him and taking pictures of him. Just incredible.
It's incredible, but you mentioned it. We'll have plenty more on the basketball angle for this. A common misnomer about the process that we will put to rest based on what we've seen with this 76ers team. A bold proclamation from one of our colleagues about the future of this team and more. But coming up next, while we're seeing something new from the Sixers, we may also have seen something old and familiar for the final time last night.
Winning at sports and at sports broadcasting means changing things up.
Just like La Quinta Inns and Suites is changing up their look.
A renovated lobby that's so contemporary it even makes Golic look cool.
Yes, it does. And a totally updated fitness center that even has Wingo feeling like a workout.
I'm ripped. Plus plenty of comfortable spaces to hang out.
Yep, this La Quinta look definitely has a vibe of victory.
So you can just relax, refresh, and get ready for your next big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
It's Golic and Wingo here on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests are going to join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. If you're wondering why you are hearing us and not seeing us today, we are down in Dallas, getting ready for the draft coverage coming up. We are broadcasting live from 103.3 ESPN here in Dallas, but there are no cameras. We are going to be dark until tomorrow when we'll be back on TV. We'll be out at the Collins Event Center.
Yes, we will. Yeah, those two, our buses out there, the Golic and Wingo buses out there. That's going to be a ball. We'll get a ton of people out there as well. You can check out the bus. We'll be back on TV as well, ESPN News as well as ESPN Radio. But yes, we're back in the studios today, and as Mike said, no cameras. So we'll try and have you follow us on a new way. on Golic and Wingo today as well.
Yeah, so you can already check us out at Golic and Wingo on Twitter, and you can have details there for more on our location for the shows Thursday and Friday, 1010 Collin Event Center here in Dallas. But in addition to the Twitter now, you can go and check us out on the Gram, Instagram. We're at Golic Wingo. Up and running right now. We have one picture up there of me and Dad in the studio.
Yeah, for first post. We just started it. So it's cool. I didn't know. Can I call it the Gram? Is that cool or is that not cool?
I would say
you just did it. Yeah. You just did it, and I felt you did it in kind of a sarcastic type way.
Yeah, no, at this point, that kind of reference is both dated and tongue-in-cheek.
So don't say the Gram. Okay.
Just stick with, when in doubt, just be you on this.
Why but why can you get away with it?
Because I'm me and you're you. I'm saying be yourself. I don't need you to try and be the Gram guy.
Do you think that people listening heard you say the Gram and thought, oh, that's just, Golic Jr. kind of messing around. He gets it.
Yes.
And if I said, hey, we're on the Gram now, everyone would be going, old man, sounds stupid.
Well, that's because you would do that thing that you just did right there, where as an older man, you put the before any sort of social media feature, thus making it sound really old. The Instagram or the Facebook.
You find us at Golic and Wingo on the Twitter. I shouldn't do that?
Yeah, probably remove the does. So confirming everything that I've believed about this, which is probably a good place. It's a learning experience right now. I'm proud of you.
You're never too old to learn.
No.
And you know what else, son? You're never too young to learn from your father.
That's why I got a bad tattoo about learning, but that's a story for another day. So at Golic Wingo on Instagram, if you want to see us running around Dallas for the next few days here. But if you want to see quality basketball, you need to only go to Philadelphia at this point. It seems the 76ers completing the process, winning their first round series. Meek Mill in the house last night. But we look on now and we wonder what the ceiling looks like for this team now that they have completed the first part of their goal. And our colleague Stephen A. Smith yesterday thinks that ceiling is pretty high.
Boston has a shot. Toronto can score, but really not from the perimeter with those other guys outside of DeRozan. So when you look at it from that perspective, I look at Toronto being a 2-point shooting team more so than a 3-point shooting team. I look at Boston with not enough depth because of the absence of Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. I look at LeBron James being a lone ranger, having no help whatsoever. I think that will not bode well against them in the Eastern Conference. And it's because of those three realities that I've got the Philadelphia 76ers going to the NBA Finals.
Going to the NBA Finals. Stephen A. with the take that, listen, a lot of people, as this progressed and we actually saw, I guess you could say to a point, Cleveland not be able to flip the proverbial switch that we keep talking about going to the playoffs with this new group of players that they change up at the trade deadline. And you knew the injuries Boston were facing, even though they're one game away from getting past Milwaukee. Toronto, got evened up by Washington, so we're not sure about them. So it does lean to Philadelphia, a team really that hasn't been able to count on their first round pick this year. Markelle Fultz, he's come back, did have the youngest person to ever have a triple double, but it's been Embiid, it's been Redick, it's been Ben Simmons. Redick though is 33, so as we look to the future of this team, we have to see, what his role continues to be as he's the, one of the elder statesmen on that team. But you got a lot, I think, in the East between Milwaukee, between Philadelphia, and between Boston, you have three teams that you really, really can be talking about for the next few years.
Yeah, no, as the stranglehold is officially loosened on the Eastern Conference with LeBron James, at least in the current form, on this team, that's absolutely what we've been opened up to. Worth noting, by the way, that as Stephen A. delivered yet another scorcher, he was sitting next to Allen Iverson there, who may have been putting a little bug in his ear.
Influence that a little bit?
On showing some love in this situation. So Philly's likely is going to get the winner of the Bucks Celtics in the next round. I know our BPI, the nerds here at ESPN, are giving them a much better chance against the Bucks potentially than the Boston Celtics.
So let me ask you this. Is it as hot a take as we think? In using the term hot take to say the 76ers may come out of the East, in seeing everything that is now with Kyrie being out, and even though they may get by the Bucks, Kyrie is still out, so they have to dealing with injuries. Is it as big a hot take now to say that they might be the team out of the East?
I don't think so. I mean, we look at an Eastern Conference, and the reason it is feeling like that is because LeBron James has been to the final 7 straight years out of this conference. That's really what you're fighting against. But if you're looking at the on-court basketball product, you're talking about a team that in this series, you mentioned J.J. Redick, who's their best pure three-point shooter, hasn't been shooting the best percentage of the guys on this team. And even last night, this team who's done so well from beyond the arc wasn't great there and still found a way to win. So you're watching them evolve. I saw a comment from Dwayne Wade that said, a team like us pushing the 76ers in this first round series, a veteran team showing them how they can respond to these situations, is probably the secret sauce that they needed going forward to get that kind of experience.
Yeah, it's a good point about the three-point line. They were horrible. They made just a quarter of their three-point shots, 25%, and JJ was 5 of 10. So everybody else basically stunk. There was a lot of 0-fers, 0 for 5s, 0 for 3s, 0 for 2, 0 for 2. So you're right. They didn't have that in the arsenal last night, save for Redick.
No, they didn't. And so we'll have plenty of time to look at and digest the 76ers as we go forward, because this is one of the younger teams in the NBA with so much that we thought was on the horizon for them down the road that appears to be coming sooner than expected. But something that might also be coming up soon and something we're a little less excited about was what also may have been going on last night, the last game potentially for Heat star Dwayne Wade, who, ironically enough, in his first game in the NBA was on the road in Philadelphia against the 76ers and may have come full circle last night. When you think about the career of Dwayne Wade now, if we are maybe putting a bow on this, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
Consistency. I mean, for as long as he's been doing it and as great as he has been. Now, certainly the last few years he went through the injury stretch where he wasn't counted on as much, and then as he started to get older, the consistency waned. But that's true for most people when they get older, unless you're a guy like LeBron James, but that's how it's supposed to work. But every now and then, you count on the guy. You look at these games when he comes in off the bench, he's, leads the show. He's looked to at times to take that shot, to be that guy. So he always had that. He's always been a guy that's been looked to say, make the play for us. And that's what made it really interesting when LeBron went down there and he and Bosh and Wade all got together. The beginning of that was pretty wild because LeBron is used to being the man. Certainly Dwayne Wade was. You could see Bosh while he was big time in Toronto. You could see him being the first to kind of acquiesce to those guys who really, because they had the ball in their hand. Bosh isn't bringing the ball up, so he has to wait for someone to get him involved. So for those two guys, Wade and LeBron, to be such good friends and be basically the guys with the ball in their hand, how they had to work it all out and eventually work it out to, okay, LeBron, you're the best player in the world. We're deferring to you through this. But you saw Wade a couple times in the series playing well, and you kind of revisited beating Father Time a bit. But at this point, he just can't do it at the level consistently enough to see what he's going to do and whether he's going to try and come back.
As far as hearing it from the man himself, here was Dwayne Wade last night when asked if this was indeed his last game.
Of course, y'all know I given it thought. This is Philly, and I love Philly, but ain't going to be no breaking news here in Philly. I'm sorry. So I appreciate y'all concerning, but we'll worry about that later. Ain't gonna break nothing here.
Listen, he could have said he was retiring last night, and I wouldn't have believed it. I've said it from the beginning of time of me ever being in front of a microphone, and I'll never not say it, is never listen to somebody right after season is over. He said now it's family time. He's going to go chill out. He's not going to worry about basketball for a while. He said there's a long time until basketball starts up again, or he has to even think about a decision. And he'll take that time. Everything's got to relax, got to rest, got to calm down a little bit until you can make that decision not to play basketball. Now, I don't think guys ever miss getting on the court and playing, even though it is an 82-game schedule. It can be grueling. There's a lot of work to get involved to get yourself ready for that players just don't want to do anymore. And it'll be a little while before we find out whether he wants to go through that again.
A lot of time for that. So in the meantime, he'll go and ice up those knees, which when I think Dwayne Wade, I think knees and shot blocking. That's basically what it comes down to with Dwayne Wade, who, when it's all said and done, will be in that conversing for one of the best shooting guards of all time. But right now, him and Gabrielle Union got a little quality time to get to.
They got a lot more quality time. So, reading her tweets at times, he gets a little, Yeah,
didn't check Gabby's Twitter feed last night, but have a feeling there might have been a little more come on home in that. So, we've got that in tow. Dwayne Wade will wait and hear the official word on that stellar career. But speaking of retirement talk, you get to stand up and get on the table and brag about being yet again as another star flirted and now seems to be done flirting with potential retirement. And the biggest news of the off season.
Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's TREX.com.
It's Golic and Wingo.
The Pulitzer Board said the album is a virtuistic virtuoistic, am I saying that?
Virtuosic.
Virtuosic?
Yeah.
That's how much I know. That's why I'll never win this award. I should have posted that on the gram. Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance. Small business protection just got easier with more than 30 coverage options available. Progressive has you covered. More at progressivecommercial.com.
That was that was enlightening from you.
Were you shocked? Seriously?
No.
All right.
Not quite. Not quite. But right now it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Because while you were incredibly wrong about that and your ability to pronounce anything with any degree of, I was just about to say correctness, so you see the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Clarity?
That might be the one.
Okay.
I'll let you get to something that you were clear about this offseason. We mentioned before, we're dealing with the impending retirement of Dwayne Wade, potentially, who might have played his last game in Philadelphia last night. Manu Ginobili, the Spurs star, as they got that series finished off against Golden State, may have also played his last game last night.
And we'll certainly get into Kawhi Leonard and what's going to go on this summer to try and keep him in the San Antonio Spurs uniform.
Yeah, there's some things in play with that story, but I wanted to make sure that you had the appropriate amount of time to stand up and take what I'm sure credit you were going to take for yourself already when it comes to Rob Gronkowski and his decision about the 2018 season.
Rather than me talk about it and give myself the credit, why don't you, as a son to looking up to a father, and a father who gives out wisdom and advice all the time that a son doesn't take as much maybe as he should, maybe you should give me credit for being right all along.
Yeah,
how did you do that?
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. If you want this credit here, you better stand up and take it, because I can assure you I'm not going to sit here and give it to you.
What we're talking about here is Rob Gronkowski and his agent met with, or Rob Gronkowski met with Bill Belichick, and he is coming back to play this season. Shocker of all shocks! Who told you that? There was a 0% chance that any of the three would not be back in their spots in Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and Rob Gronkowski. So Brady, and it was, I understand the story that there's more friction this year, but I'm not going to lie. When I start hearing, well, Tom didn't confirm it that he's playing next year, did we get that out of Tom every single year? Was there some moment in every offseason where he said, I'll be back? I don't know if there was that. Okay, so I think while there is more friction, I just thought it was going too far, and I knew Tom Brady was coming, but Tom Brady wants to play at least 45. All of a sudden, what's he going to say if he retires? Now, possibly his wife could have something to say about that and have him maybe retire before 45
talk
at
to
some
Jay
point.
Feely again, who's got his own issues to worry about, so maybe he's hoping to talk to Giselle and Tom.
Exactly right. Or he just, wants to end playing, or the friction is too much. Gronk was the wild card to me. We just played yesterday when he was in doing the press conference for dirt biking in his Monster energy drink outfit and such. Dude's a pleasure. I love the guy. And he was the bigger question mark to me. But now he has said he's going to play. But even with the bigger question mark, I never thought he wasn't going to play.
Even with all these surrounding rumors with the Patriots, because that's been the difference this offseason, as you mentioned all of those other instances, but we've never had as much of a peek behind the curtain at what may not be so great and what we thought was this ego-free paradise in New England.
If you tell me now it might be his last year, I may be more inclined to believe that. He has 2 more years.
That is my thought process, that this was the last season we're going to see Rob Gronkowski.
He's making $8 or $9 million this year, and I think $10 million next year. And so if he plays that out, it would be 2 more years, but it would not shock me if he played 1 more, in hearing again about his money, saving his money and all the other things he can do. Tom has steadfastly said he wants to play till he's 45. So it would either take his wife saying, dude, I want you to be done, be done. And Tom's talking about the kids getting older and family. And I certainly could understand that the way he's playing. His kids are going to be playing with his kids at some point in the league. Or as I said before, the friction is just too much with Bill Belichick, and they've been together so long and butting heads maybe so much after this year. We'll see how it goes, but I think he keeps playing, and I think he wants to keep playing. Gronkowski, it would not shock me if he would be done after this year. But going back full circle and taking the credit I deserve, I said there would be 0 chance that any of those 3 would not be where they are right now. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Patriot fans, breathe easy. You'll be one of the favorites to get to the Super Bowl again, and we'll see what happens.
Do you know, by the way, where Rob Gronkowski broke this news yesterday?
Oh, my gosh. No, I did not. Where did you break it? Did he break it on the snap face?
No.
Okay.
Boy. Oh boy. No. Try again.
The Insta-twit?
Man, we're not going to do this. I understand we're talking Patriots.
I know.
But that doesn't mean you get to go full Belichick.
He did it on Instagram.
Yes, exactly. Where you can follow us at Golic and Wingo.
There you go.
On Instagram. Trey Wingo has come waltzing into the studio and is traipsing around here. He didn't deliver on his sandals, though. I was told that Trey was going to take advantage of the fact that we weren't on camera and wear sandals. So already the lies and deceit begin here, but we will have special draft edition here of Golic and Wingo as Trey is going to come and drop some draft knowledge on all of us up here in the studio.
Quite honestly, I was hoping he'd bring a little bit of food since that would be lacking here. And
this is the real disappointment
there at all,
in a lot of this. While we're on the Patriots, though, I do have to ask you quickly before we get out of here. More likely scenario, because you mentioned Tom wanting to play until infinity and beyond. I've always said I thought when push came to shove, if he had to, Tom Brady would finish out his career in a different color uniform. You think at this point it's more likely that Tom Brady would retire or finish with another team before it's all said and done?
That is a great question. I think he would retire. And not so much saying that he wouldn't want to play with another team, because I think if he still wanted to play and there was no option in New England that Bill Belichick did his, you know what, we're just moving in another direction, and Tom wasn't going to be a Patriot but still wanted to play, I don't think he would think twice about it. We've seen Jerry Rice, some of the greats of all time, going in other uniforms, and while fans of that team don't want to see it, if a player wants to play and that option isn't with that team that he's been with forever, play. Just play. So, but I do think he'll retire a Patriot.
And that was Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. All right, as we mentioned, Trey Wingo has come traipsing into the studio. I stole his draft notebook. We'll quiz him on it next. We'll get him ready for the coming days here as he gets ready to take you up to the NFL draft. All that coming up here on Golic and Wingo. Stick with us.
I don't know how else to say this, so I'll just say it.
What is it, Linda?
I think we should see other people.
Are you breaking up with me? On a roller coaster?
Well, we do have a lot of fun. Maybe we should stay together.
An emotional roller coaster? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I just need a little me time.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15%.
Being a mom is like 1,000 little jobs wrapped up into one amazing responsibility. I know from watching my own mom and how crazy it is switching back and forth from traumatic nurse to afternoon mathematician, from organizer-in-chief to five-star chef. This Mother's Day, show her how much you appreciate every job she does with a special limited-time offer from 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you get ahead of the Mother's Day rush, 1-800-Flowers will give you an exclusive 36 for 36 offer. 36 sorbet roses for just $36. That's only $1 per rose. With an impressive mix of pastel shades in pink, orange, and lavender, these roses are guaranteed to make her smile. Stunning sorbet roses are the perfect way to surprise all of the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, mother. These breathtaking roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 36 sorbet roses for only $36. It's an amazing offer, but hurry because it expires Friday. Just pick your delivery date and 1-800-Flowers will handle the rest. Don't put this off, guys. Order today from 1-800-Flowers.com. It's what mom would want you to do. To order 36 sorbet roses for only $36, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the radio icon, and enter code WINGO. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code WINGO. Hurry, the offer ends Friday.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio, 103.3 FM in Dallas is where we are today. Glad you're with us. Trey Wingo, Mike Golic Jr., not on television because we're in transit. We are in transit, literally like in a box, on our way on the bus to where we need to be, maybe kind of, sort of. Guys, good morning. How are we?
We're doing well. How are you doing? You've got a lot going on this week, man. This is Trey Wingo week.
And you've had an interesting start to your day from what we've heard.
Well, we had a few, the alarm didn't go off. There were a few malfunctions that we won't get into at the certain place that we're dwelling in, but it's all good. Glad we're here with you guys, and we're not on TV today, so it was okay for me to show up just in underwear, right?
The amazing thing is when we were talking about tweets, that was some of the first tweets we got. Do you guys have pants on? Now, it's always a great question because when I used to be on the road for college games, I'd either do it at the college station or from my hotel room,
right,
of which I would just lay in bed how I spent the night.
A lot of free and easy moments.
Well, there you go.
And to Junior's credit, I heard him as I was walking in. I did promise, flip-flops and shorts today, but apparently I have to do some sort of meet and greet after the show. And I was like, yeah, they're probably not going to want to see that side of me, so I decided not to.
Is there anybody that wants to see that side of you?
Nobody.
You know what? Not everyone deserves to see flip-flop Trey. That is a unique experience that we want to keep special.
That's a good point.
Respecting the one elder in this room and not the other one.
Hey, now. Well, that's never going to happen with you. You know that, right?
Yeah, I do.
You know that. I mean,
whatever.
It's like, let me put it this way. When he was growing up and you were, he was like 14 or 15, and you tried to teach him stuff in football, he'd say, Dad, shut up, right?
Well, no, actually, he was pretty good. He listened, and then he listened, smile, nod, and then go do whatever he wanted to do. It's exactly right.
Chappie was the same way. I mean, I could tell him, one time I told him, Dad, he said, Chappie, you should get a weight belt. He goes, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
Then 2 weeks, a month later, someone mentioned him, hey, Dad, can you give me a weight belt?
Yeah. See that? As long as somebody else mentions it.
Somebody does it. As long as not the dad does it, it always works. So I had to channel all my information that I wanted to tell him through Stink. And Stink would tell him stuff.
You know what? The roundabout way to do it is perfect like that. See, parents got to start gaming it like this. I heard Mike Freeman on Twitter was talking about the draft and said that one draft prospect told him that teams had been asking him about his girlfriend, and one team had even asked him if she was the one. And I said if moms were smart, they would start paying these teams for that kind of information, because if that gets brought up on Thanksgiving, he's never going to say anything. But when it's a team and it's a job interview, of course you're going to probably stammer your way through an answer that's a little more truthful, and that's where mom can strike.
That's exactly right.
That's why moms win.
Trey, one thing I'm a little, upset.
Uh-oh.
You haven't brought up yet. We just talked about it right before the top of the hour, and my son at least gave me the credit to give myself the credit. I haven't heard you say all the time. You try to, whoa, Mike, I don't know, just 0% chance.
Go
ahead.
Let me just say one thing.
Yeah.
We don't know if Belichick's coming back yet. That's the one thing we're sure of. Congratulations. You did a nice job there. You didn't take the bait. Although I must say, in somewhat a defense of my good friend Adam Schefter, as we are presented by Progressive Insurance, and all phone guests joined us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, that his information wasn't wrong. It just the outcome was to be expected, but he felt it was interesting that in talking with several interested parties, they're like, we're not sure yet.
No. I had never said anything about his information, and especially the information about there being headbutting. I completely agree with that.
We love you, Shefty.
But
DJ Shefty Chef.
Without question. But I just never thought there was going to be any question at all about those guys. And maybe we'll find out there was question. They were leaning one way or the other. But the bottom line is I was 100% correct, and I would like credit for it, Trey.
Wear the crown.
Thank you.
Wear the crown, my man. Wear it with pride.
Now I'm ready to continue the show.
All right, you ready?
Sure, why not?
We'll move on. Let's start with what's trending.
This is important.
That's Cliff, actually.
Wingo edition.
Cliff, I love you, baby. The Warriors defeated the Spurs Tuesday to advance to the Western Conference semis, where they will meet the Pelicans. The Warriors swept New Orleans in the 2015 first round, but Anthony Davis is not 2015 Anthony Davis.
No, he's not. And Warriors actually won 3 out of 4 of these in the regular season. Boogie Cousins played in 3 of them. The one he didn't play in, Steph also didn't play, and we don't know when Steph's coming back as well. But, boy, New Orleans looked great in this one. Golden State, I was still amazed when the Spurs won their one game in this. Some of the tweets I read about, oh, no, who's going to take over for goal? I mean, come on. I mean, they have stars, and they have great players on this team. It doesn't mean they're going to sweep every series, even though we thought that's what they were going to do last year. Durant leads away with 25, and Clay has 24. Draymond 17 and 19 rebounds as well. I don't worry about this team at all. I still think they're the favorite in the West, but I am really looking forward to the up-and-coming New Orleans Pelicans. We keep wondering, when is Anthony Davis going to be on another team? Is he going to end up on another team? And now look what this team that he's on is doing.
And what the future of this team looks like with Boogie Cousins being out and them having all this success. We remember Anthony Davis rattled off a couple of those monster offensive outings in the immediate wake of that injury. And we thought, okay, well, he's got more opportunities. Now we've seen it actually translate into good basketball for them. And Drew Holiday emerging in that backcourt is something that in this playoff run has probably been as surprising as as anything for us as a national audience.
I am very curious, though, to see what happens when the Pelicans go up against this team, because the Pelicans are like, hey, we don't give a rip.
Yeah.
We got literally house money. We got nothing to lose. No one thought we would make the playoffs without Boogie Cousins. No one thought we would beat. I mean, literally, I think every ESPN NBA expert that picked, every single one of them picked the Blazers to win that series.
Yeah. I did. I know I did.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, they were hot coming into the playoffs.
Yeah,
that was the team none of us were talking about enough.
And they just went out and stomped them out, to quote Michael Strahan after Super Bowl 42. So, I mean, congratulations to them. We'll see what happens. Again, they did win 3 of those 4 meetings, but that was obviously with Boogie Cousins there. But we'll see what happens in the playoffs as we continue. By the way, the fact that Cliff is functioning this morning is a miracle.
Yeah, that's very true.
An absolute miracle. For those that might not recall, Cookmaster Cliff, who runs the board for us on Golic and Wingo and is the music man extraordinaire, is a Philly dude through and through. He was our reporter for the Eagles Super Bowl parade, and it just continues.
It's fair to ask, though, real quick, Cliff, more happy the 76ers ended that series or Meek Mill is freed?
Free Meek.
There you go.
Yeah, I thought.
We've been on this since day one, Cliff. We did it.
It's a double down. It's a double down. The 76ers beat the Heat Tuesday in front of Meek Mill, who was freed from prison and rang the bell before the game to win their first playoff series since 2012.
Yeah, I mean, how happy you just come off the Super Bowl, I get it, but for the 76ers and how many times we're going to hear the process and how long it took and other teams saying, okay, this works, but how many years are you willing to invest in this? And certainly, even if you're going to go down this road of the process, you have to get the players. And they do in Embiid and Ben Simmons. There's no doubt about that. And we'll see again, Markelle Fultz didn't play last night. So, he's been obviously barely played at all this year. Still, though, the youngest with a triple-double in NBA history. But what they've been able to do, J.J. Redick is the shooter for this team. God forbid you put him on the free throw line, the best free throw shooter in the game. But he's 33. So, we keep talking about the future of the 76ers. He's one of those guys. How much longer for him? Certainly he can do what he's doing, I would imagine, for a while longer. It's not like I'm saying he's going to retire, but we talk about Ben Simmons and Embiid and Markelle Fultz, and how young these guys are. It is balanced out with some veteran leadership.
Well, and that's the criticism we always lobbed at this team for so long when they were losing is, you've amassed all of these young, talented players, but there's no presence in that locker room. And the value of having veteran leadership in a group to sort of corral all these guys and help show them the way. So that's J.J. Redick's role in this as much as anything else. But a quick ode to the process. What did we learn throughout this, by the way, is that your process requires some tweaking. And this doesn't go as well as it does, I don't think, without Brian Colangelo stepping in and becoming a part of this and doing the job that he has done. And that bodes really well, by the way, for one NFL team in particular coming up in this draft who is following a similar plan.
Well, you can't just leave. That's a
tease
very good tease.
Right,
you want to
come on? Yeah, we'll stick around and find out when we talk about the draft later, guys.
Wow.
I got you.
I was going to leave, but now I want to know. That's very, very good.
I do too.
That's what I do for you guys.
Wow. You do something, that's for sure. And we continue.
This is important.
So that Yankees slow start, apparently like the rest of us in the Northeast, they just hated the weather. Once it's gotten warm, the Yankees' bats have warmed up. They've won 4 in a row after another 8-3 win over the Twins last night. Didi hit his 8th home run, has 3 more RBI. He leads the major leagues with 27, and he also has 8 homers in his last 22 games.
8 home runs. We just were talked about earlier. Mike Trout got his 10th home run at the end of April, and and what else we chatted about with the Yankees, the 7th highest payroll now. How many of these guys? Now, Didi makes $5 million, but some of the other youngsters that we're talking about making $500-some thousand, and they have some room to grow, certainly with salary there. I don't doubt it sometime soon in the near future they'll be back into the top, of payroll, a place they're normally used to being, but it's still early. Well, we're talking 22 games in. They're 4 games behind the Red Sox, sitting at 17-5. Yankees 13-9. Toronto mixed in there as well. But I love watching these teams who are now again, there's no salary cap in baseball, but still, you're not used to seeing Yankee players that are playing so well a lot of times making in this case $5 million with Didi, but again, these other guys making $500,000 and multiple guys, not just one, but multiple guys that are making that kind of money and being so productive.
Yep. The under the radar salary Yankees, although I love this. We're talking about Didi Gregorius. Our own Dan Stanzik, super producer, getting in on the hot takery yesterday
I
on
saw
Twitter that might not be founded. I saw Stanzik tweet this yesterday. Said, I know there's lore surrounding Jeter as a player, and he's earned all of it, but is Didi Gregorius the more talented and physically gifted shortstop?
Wow. That's a Stanzik hot take right there.
I don't think it's all that wrong. I mean, listen, we understand all of the parts that made Jeter great. The fact that he's this consummate Yankee, what he was able to do in that city, staying out of trouble, all of the above, the gift baskets. Everything sounds great when we wrap it up like that. But if we have an honest assessment of Jeter the player, do we not arrive at this conclusion?
Well, it's way too early to arrive at that conclusion. Let's be clear about that.
Or maybe too late.
Jeter played for 4,683 years, and Didi struggled, for 2 or 3 years before finally clicking in last year. I mean, there were people a couple of years ago that were saying, I'm not sure if Didi's ever going to get it.
Right.
And then the athletic part, I may be with you, but everything else that goes with it,
we gotta wait.
We got a ways to go there.
We definitely have to wait.
But see, you guys are talking about production. This is sort of the LeBron Jordan argument, where you have a LeBron James who is more talented, but Michael Jordan who was more productive.
Oh yeah, you mean one of those stupid arguments?
Yeah, one of those realistic arguments right now.
Okay.
We're talking about the gifts.
Well, you are the gift for me, so I really can't say that. So thank you very much.
We blew right through the buzzer on that one.
I keep you with
did
us.
really well.
Told you, you can try and play me off. It won't work.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm with you. Look, I don't want you to play off because that would mean I'd have to do more this week, and I really don't want to. Yeah. So anyway, glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio. We are at 103.3 FM Dallas right now, and we'll be out with tomorrow, next 2 days in the Golic and Wingo bus.
Yes, we will.
We're excited about that. We're getting ready. We are here getting ready for our coverage of the draft. Our draft coverage will be here all week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with us, and also, of course, the draft itself. Starts Thursday night, 7 o'clock on ESPN and runs through the entire weekend. So it's all good. We're ready to go. Mm-hmm. We'll have Sal Paolantoni coming up in about 15 minutes.
Right.
And I'm told we're actually going to do this again, really?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
All right, Cliff, let's go.
It's time to Try Trey.
Yeah, that's about it. We're going to try Trey on the draft. Now, the one thing about Trey is he has a lot of great people at the desk with him, and Mel Kiper will be at the desk, Louis Riddick, and Kirk Herbstreit, where the whole College Game Day crew will be down here as well doing a show, and then Herbie will be on set with Trey on the main set. So we have all these guys with this great info, but Trey really digs down and gives great info off the field about a lot of players.
Well, I figure no one's listening to me break down tape. I mean, that would be a waste of everybody saying, hey, what do you think of the three-cone drill? He went fast? I mean, what do you, I'm going to leave that to the experts. I'm just filling in the blanks around the other stuff when they run out of things to say.
Yeah, you might be able to say that Trey Wingo is clearly in the zone, and that's brought to you by AutoZone. AutoZone helps you more with their free services and helpful, friendly advice. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Wow. All right, so we're going to ask Trey some. We're going to try Trey with these questions about the draft coming up, but not about on the field things. So here we go, Trey.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Other than Vita Vea, the defensive tackle, the 350-pounder from Washington.
Whose full name is Tavita Tuilokiono Tuipoloto Mosese Afeatu Fayahavea.
And there we go.
There you have it.
Which 2 to 3 potential draftees' names have you practiced saying the most outside of his?
There's quite a few, actually, this year. There's Obo Okoronkwo, which I'm just going to go with Obo because the first name is still a struggle for me, but I'll have it by the time he's drafted. I promise, the kid out of Oklahoma. And then there's a kid out of, I'm trying to find him right now. Where is he? Out of Western Michigan, Chukwuma Okorafor. So those are a couple of them.
Wow. Now, do you know you're pronouncing them correctly, or are you just saying them with conviction?
No. Well,
it's just one of those things, where you just act like you know exactly what's going on.
Our
so you
great
give that
draft researcher, Jim Carr, make sure he puts pronunciations in there. Now, I'm most looking forward to, and you guys will love this because it's a Notre Dame player, going through the entire family history of Equanimous St. Brown, because we just got to tell a little bit of his story, okay? His father is a bodybuilder named John Brown, who was a two-time Mr. World, two-time Mr. Universe, 3-time Mr. World. He met his wife at a bodybuilding show in the 80s in Germany, and this is his quote now. His quote. He picked her because he wanted to have selective breeding. So they picked 2 people that they thought were going to give.
Whose quote is that?
That's the father.
The father, okay.
Said, we want to make sure we had good kids. So he named all 3 of his sons this very strict regimen of a name followed by an Egyptian name followed by Saint and then Brown and then another Egyptian name plus a letter. And it's a fascinating thing because all three of these kids, and they're all three D1 athletes, all three of them took the ACT and the SAT in 3 languages, French, English, and German.
Seriously?
Because she's from Germany, and she only speaks to them or texts to them in German. And one year when they were living in L.A., one semester where they were all in high school, they were taking French, and she didn't think they were learning proper French, so she pulled them out of school for a semester, moved them to Paris, and they had to speak French like the Parisians for an entire semester of school so they would understand how to actually speak French.
Oh, you're not getting that anywhere else.
That's good stuff, man.
That's info.
Equanimous St. Brown.
Not gonna lie, watched that kid at Notre Dame for 3 years now and had no idea about any of that. That is 100% a house that has no colorful cereal allowed in the pantry.
Yeah,
that's very true.
All right, what do you got, Mike?
All right, Trey, which potential draftee can play 9 instruments?
Oh, that would be defensive end Chad Thomas out of Miami. He's actually he can play 9. He's working on a 10th right now.
Why not?
Because he has 10 fingers, so you might as well be able to tap each one of them, right? He also is a budding music career. He's had some music sort of already published and put out there in Miami, but he has a great interest in football, but he also has a great interest in music. He's always been around it. And he's really looking forward to doing both at the same time. Obviously, football season will take over, but when he has time in the offseason, much in the same way Le'Veon Bell drops some serious bars, he wants to be the musical side, whereas Le'Veon is more the vocal side.
Wow. All right. This is Try Trey, where you're getting way more than height, weight, and 40 time, which is what you're going to get during the draft. Trey is going to do deep dives, I should say, into some of these draft prospects. All right. Here we go.
Yeah.
Which potential draftee routinely got his butt kicked in their backyard dojo by his big sisters?
Oh, that would be Philip Lindsay, the running back out of Colorado. Philip, I think, retired with the most yards from scrimmage in Colorado history. He didn't get invited to the combine, which kind of ticked him off. But he's a little guy. He's like 5'9", 180, 190 pounds. But he's a Darren Sproles type. But his dad set up a taekwondo dojo in their backyard, and he would get big and bad with his buddies and go in there and kick some butt. And when he thought he was ruling, his dad would send in his older sisters, and they would just take him down and make him know, you're still not the best guy in the family.
Wow. Love that.
Any of you guys were looking for the over-under on the first mention of backyard dojo on ESPN Radio, 718.
We got a couple of those this year.
It is truly incredible. By the way, Cliff, while we're here, can you do that thing I like real quick? I know Dad and Trey will.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we have a pick and I have to go.
Yeah.
A pick is in, I gotta go.
Trey just lost his mind.
Trey just heard the training camp horns. Anytime I hear an air horn, I automatically assume I'm late for some training camp meeting. Trey hears those and assumes that he is needed on set right now. But
I feel you, dog.
Trey continuing to give us all sorts of draft nuggets here. Let's go with this one, Trey, as we try you. Which first-round quarterback had to send over 1,000 emails just to get an offer from an FBS school?
Oh, that's really interesting. That might be the first guy off the board. That was Josh Allen. Josh Allen had like 0 FBS offers coming out of high school in Firebaugh, California, a city that's a population of about 7,500 and is made up of about 90% of migrant farm workers. So he went to junior college and sent out 1,000 emails to every head coach, offensive coordinator, and quarterback's coach that he could find, and got 2 responses. And one of them was Wyoming. So he went there, and this is really fascinating. He may have gone from being a guy who had to beg to get a chance to play to being the first guy taken in the 2018 draft.
That's really cool.
Pretty
and
cool.
By the way, Josh Allen will join us on set tomorrow,
hey,
9:30, over by the Golic and Wingo bus. So that's going to be fantastic.
Love that.
And we're going to take pictures of that. We're going to put it on our Instagram.
At Golic Wingo. Come check it out. See that arm strength in person.
Yeah.
Wait, this is actually happening?
Looks great. It's already happening.
We are actually going to let that happen.
Yes, we are.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, there you go. We're going to do more.
We'll do more of those a little bit later?
Yeah, a little later. Yeah.
We'll do more later.
We definitely have plenty. I love this. So I love so much stuff I didn't know. It is
fun.
Very cool.
You read, look, the thing is, we all look at these draftees, and especially fans, they look at them as products, not people.
Right.
You look at them, okay, this is a thing that I'm going to plug into my thing here, and this thing is going to perform for me.
Whoa.
It's not like you're buying a charger at an Apple store. You're buying an actual person that has some interesting things, and a lot of them have overcome a lot of struggles along the way, and that's what I like telling
I know
about.
what you just said, but I feel like a lot of that should have been beeped. But go ahead.
Winning at sports and at sports broadcasting means changing things up.
Just like La Quinta Inns and Suites is changing up their look.
A renovated lobby that's so contemporary it even makes Golic look cool.
Yes, it does. And a totally updated fitness center that even has Wingo feeling like a workout.
I'm ripped. Plus plenty of comfortable spaces to hang out.
Yep, this La Quinta look definitely has a vibe of victory.
So you can just relax, refresh, and get ready for your next big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
All right, as we continue on Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio 103.3 FM in Dallas, we're presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And I think for all of us that have worked the NFL draft last year in Philadelphia, let me say Philadelphia, you're welcome. Because really, it was the draft in Philadelphia that got the ball rolling where we had over 250,000 people there. That started the Philly mojo. That continued with the Super Bowl win for the Philadelphia Eagles. That continued with the great run by the 76ers in the postseason. That continued with Villanova winning the national championship. And now the Sixers get into the postseason and close out their first-round opponent in Miami on the same night that Meek Mill is freed. Philly, I don't know what more we can do for you. Just know that we're here for you all the time. And you know who else is always there for Philadelphia? Our guy, Sal Paolantoni.
Yes, he is.
Sal Pal joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, taking synthetic motor oil to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Sal Pal is with us. He'll be embedded with the Jets for the draft, and we'll get to that in a minute because if you don't know your draft history, Sal will always have to be embedded with the Jets after the infamous Bill Parcells interview during one discussion, which was great. We'll get to that in a minute. But, Sal, you were the man on the spot at Philly last night. First of all, did you get to speak to Meek?
Very briefly. He was sitting next to Kevin Hart, and at the end of the game, we tried to do a little interview with him, and he was all for it. He wanted to get on SportsCenter. He saw the ESPN mic flag. Full disclosure, he had no idea who I was, obviously. But
no chance. Phil, Sal, I don't believe that. I believe he said, hey, there's that Sal Pal guy that works for that network whose name I can't remember. That's the way it's going down in my brain, just so you know.
No, he saw the mic flag, and his eyes lit up, but a couple of his handlers pulled him away from us. And that's all cool. But, you know, it was an electric night last night. And this team is, without a doubt, a for-real basketball team. And I know it's going to sound, Dr. Trey, like a little bit of a homer thing, but it reminds me a lot. It reminds me a lot of the Eagles team because they have some veterans who know how to win. They have some young talent that don't really know what they're up against and just play, you know, like their hair's on fire. They make some mistakes. They had 27 turnovers in the previous game. They got a young coach who's not, you know, terribly accomplished. They got a hungry fan base that is absolutely wild for them. It really reminds me a lot of the Eagles' run last year.
Sal, when you're watching this team, and it's a team, really a second half team, going into this game, they had outscored the Heat by 42 in the fourth quarter. Overall in the series by 78 points in the second half. How different does this team look to you in person when they come out of the locker room after halftime?
Yeah, Michael, that's a really great point, and I think it's absolutely true. It is a second half team, and I think it's for two reasons. One, they're youthful. Two, they're in great shape. Brett Brown has this team running and gunning in practice. And it's all about pace for them. Tempo, tempo, tempo. You know, he said before the game, after the 27 turnovers in the last game, damn the turnovers, full speed ahead. We're just going to go with tempo, and we're going to play our game and shoot the three. I guess there's really a third reason, and that is at the beginning of games, especially in the postseason, it's tough to find your shot rhythm. But if you keep shooting like they're doing, they find that rhythm in the third quarter. And when you see this team in the third quarter, they start to really light up the threes with Marco Bellinelli, with Dario Saric. Ilyasova gets into the act. But the guy who leads the charge without a doubt is the veteran J.J. Redick. And I pay a lot of attention to warm-ups like I do at NFL games. And I watched that guy warm up his three. And at the beginning, he can't hit the ocean. He fell out of a boat. But by the 15th or 16th shot, he's not missing anything.
Talking to Sal Paolantoni on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line here. And Sal, I'm with you. If J.J. Redick really gets that stroke going, too, this team gets exponentially more dangerous. But now for the ceiling, Stephen A. Smith said he has the Sixers going all the way to the NBA Finals this season. What does the ceiling look like as you've seen them from your vantage point?
Well, Stephen A. and I were colleagues at the Philadelphia Inquirer. Now we're colleagues at ESPN. We was together last night. I'm not ready to make that prediction yet. I do respect his opinion, obviously, no question about it. He's more of an analyst, and I'm more of a reporter. So I got to cover this next round, and I don't want to go on the record saying one thing or the other. But I'll just say this: they got youth, and they got desire, and they've got a coach that's not afraid to change, make adaptations on the run. And that also reminds me a lot of Peterson from last year with the Eagles. This guy, Brett Brown, can really coach. And he's not afraid to make adjustments. And when you watch him on the sideline, the way he communicates with these young and old players, he's got a really interesting mix now. He's got these two European stars. He's got a veteran in Bellinelli and another one in Redick. He's got a hungry fighter like T.J. McConnell. And then the two superstars, Simmons and Embiid, these young two superstars. The way he adapts his communication management style to the players, depending on who they are, is really something to watch in real time on the sideline. I'm impressed.
Well, you should be, because it's been an impressive run for the Sixers, as it has for everything in Philadelphia. Sal Paolantoni with us. Okay, Sal, let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to the NFL draft. Let's go there, baby. And again, for those that don't know, thank you very much. Wait, a pick is in? Okay. For those that don't know, aren't draft historians, of course Sal is embedded with the Jets this year because there was an epic confrontation, or a discussion, rather, with Bill Parcells.
No question about it.
Well, but it started as a conversation. This was after Keyshawn Johnson wrote the book, Just Give Me the Damn Ball, right?
Yeah.
And you were asking Bill about that, and he told you, I don't want to talk about it. So Sal did the, air quotes, big J journalism thing, where he tried to ask the question without actually asking the question, and he went like 3 times at it, and finally Bill said, "That's it. I'm done." It was one of the greatest moments in draft history. That's why we love you, Sal. So are we going to have another one of those moments this week with the Jets if Broadway Baker falls to them at 3?
Oh, my gosh. I have, first of all, the great Bill Parcells and I have since made up after that incident.
Of course.
I learned a lot from Bill that day. Let's put it that way. We just taped our NFL matchup show draft specials, and I did a lot of research, some film study, a lot of talking to coaches, obviously, and GMs and scouts, and looking at scouting reports. And I actually agree with Louis Riddick. I agree wholeheartedly, 100%. I think Baker Mayfield is the number one quarterback in this draft, by far. I mean, to me, the two most important traits that you cannot do without at the NFL level is you have to be accurate with the football, and you have to make quick decisions, good decisions. When it counts the most, 3rd and 5, fourth quarter, in the red zone. And Baker Mayfield checks all those boxes in a big way.
So this is, in your mind, yes, the Jets pick at 3 if he's available no matter what?
Well, no, I don't know about that. I'm going to find out a little bit later. I'm going to go up to Florham Park and maybe have a chance to talk to Todd Bowles and Mike McCagnon. But the Jets need a quarterback. They didn't move up to number 3 to pick a safety again. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
they got 2 last year.
They did. So I mean, if Sam Darnold goes number 1 and Saquon Barkley goes number 2 to the Giants, and Baker Mayfield is sitting there at number 3, I mean, you'll have a riot in all the 5 boroughs if they don't pick Baker Mayfield.
Sal Paolantoni with us as we get set to cover the draft. Sal, what else are you hearing about what the Jets may want to do? Let's say for some crazy reason Baker Mayfield isn't there, because Adam Schefter is reporting that the Browns are telling people that, hey, he's still in the conversation for being the first overall pick. Of course, we're in the lying season, as you well know, in the NFL.
Yeah.
So let's just say for some crazy notion that either Baker goes number 1 or someone trades up with the Giants, who have sort of hung out that shingle, Sal, and saying, hey, if you're really interested, we're open for business. What then for the Jets?
Well, that's the big question. Is if Baker Mayfield goes
That's what
one,
I do,
and then
Sal.
The Giants, and I think then it's an interesting situation. If Darnold and Baker Mayfield are both gone, who do the Jets take at 3? I think that's the real problematic situation for the Jets. To me, for my board, in my study, I got Baker Mayfield number 1, Josh Rosen number 2, and then Lamar Jackson is my number 3 quarterback.
Wow.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's proven. Yes. And I had Deshaun Watson very, very high last year. I think it's proven over and over again that if you have a quarterback who is a threat to run and you have to dedicate a hat on defense to that guy, and that quarterback is also a very accurate passer, so he can throw from the pocket, that opens – we saw that with Carson Wentz. When Carson Wentz was really going blazes, it was because of his threat to run, and you had to dedicate a hat to him that opened everything up. And then when Foles started with the RPOs, the run-pass options, again, if you had to dedicate a hat to that idea that you don't know what he's going to do with the football, then that opens up the passing game. And I think that this notion that you have to have it, and to me, Baker Mayfield, although he's not a runner, he's a great pocket passer. He can cut off a 40, 50-yard run that we've seen him in college. He's got speed. And I think, to me, the accuracy and the threat to run of some of these guys, like Rosen's a pocket passer, but he's got great accuracy.
Yeah, he does.
He does, but I think Lamar Jackson's being very, very underrated in this draft.
Oh, I don't disagree with you there, Sal, and I think it's going to be really curious to see in this mad dash for quarterbacks, if they all go at the top, how quickly someone trades up for Lamar Jackson after saying, well, we're not sure about him as a quarterback through this entire draft process. Sal, we got to run, brother. We appreciate you as always, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, buddy. All right, coming up, we'll tell you why tomorrow night might be the only second most memorable night for one player expected to go in the top 5 of the draft. We'll get to that.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance. Small business protection just got easier with more than 30 coverage options available. Progressive has you covered. More at progressivecommercial.com. It is Golic and Wingo. We are in Dallas in studio, 103.3 FM here in Dallas. Tomorrow we'll be back on TV again on ESPN News as well as ESPN Radio. We'll be doing the show by our Golic and Wingo bus, which made the trip down here. So fans that come on down get a chance to check that out as well and check out the pictures. Our Instagram started up today. It's at Golic Wingo is our Instagram, so you can check that out and follow along. These would be the first pictures and first posts that we have.
It's already a problem. During the last tweet segment, I was almost caught off guard and not on the microphone because I was trying to Instagram a box of donuts. This is going to be a challenge.
Oh, boy.
It's not going to be a challenge.
No,
if there's one thing I have faith in you, Junior, is to be able to take a picture and eat a donut at the same time.
Good point.
I mean,
agreed.
I'm just going to say there are certain things that I would have concerns with you about.
Yep.
These two would not be the two things that I would have concerns about you.
Your guys' confidence means a lot to me.
It does, but what else am I going to say at this point? Speaking of taking pictures and putting them on social media, congratulations to one Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
Saquon Barkley is going to hear his name called very early, probably within the top 5 picks of Thursday night's draft, but that will be the second best thing that's happened to him over the last 48 hours because Saquon Barkley is now a daddy. His girlfriend gave birth to Jada Claire Barkley, and there's a great picture of him holding on to that baby girl saying enjoying fatherhood, so congratulations to Saquon.
And his girlfriend.
That's a good week.
And congratulations to his girlfriend who did the work.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Saquon just stood around at the end here and just waited.
That's
so
what we all did at
congrats
the end.
to his girlfriend who did all the work, and congrats on the beautiful child there. You're right. That will be now him getting drafted will be the second greatest thing that happened in his life after the birth of a child. And anybody who's had that knows that experience. Just incredible. So good for him.
The problem with those cuddly babies, as you will, Mike, is they grow up.
That is true.
And they become that.
And you're like, wait a minute. Can I give that back? I'm sitting here with my son who's 20. And I'm like, wait a minute. I liked it better when he was like 28 months.
Yeah. Let's be honest. The sweet spot for fatherhood is about 8 to 13, or maybe 6, maybe 5 or 6 to 13.
And the second sweet spot is when they're off my payroll.
Well, correct. Well, that's the thing. The other thing that's going to be great about Saquon in this go-round is because he's had the baby, and then he gets drafted, and then as soon as he signs, he's off the hook for everything else because it's all taken care of.
It was
it's
cool.
all taken care of.
I was watching these guys get ready for the draft, and they're all at the different workout facilities, like you were the one you were at work. What was it?
Exos.
You were working out there. These guys are working out at him, and they did one on Saquon Barkley, and he's working out and preparing, and it showed how mesmerized and how RG3 was working out there, and he even said, "I'm kind of fangirling." It was pretty cool to see how a guy who's thought to be such a great player in the pros and was in college is looking at a guy like RG3 and saying, "Wow, man, this is so cool. I hope I meet him."
Yeah, you all have that moment, especially as young guys, because you forget who these guys came up watching now. Because even for me, these guys are 7, 8, some guys 9 years younger than I am at this point going into the draft. So they've come up watching an entirely different set of NFL stars develop in front of them.
And that's the hardest transition sometimes for these kids is to not go, "Hey, you're." And like, no, we're equals now, or we're teammates, and we got to be done on that level, which is very cool. So congratulations to Saquon. We'll hear his name called early Thursday. Coming up, Tim Hasselbeck and the great Dallas Cowboy legend Roger Staubach joins us.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like a whole new person.
Disclaimer, you will not become a whole new person. This is impossible. You might be able to join a gym or diet program, buy a new wardrobe, get hair implants, but your DNA and physical form will remain the same. Geico waives any and all liability if you attempt to become a new person, except a cyborg. If you choose to become a half-human, half-cybernetic organism with lasers for eyes, the Geico legal team would be cool with that, because, quote, laser eyes are pretty sweet. Pew, 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 end quote.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.